Millions fought, millions died. How did Stalingrad turn the tide of war and became the graveyard of Nazi ambitions? Hi friends. Welcome to my brand new channel. Don't forget to subscribe, if not done it already. Let's move to today's topic. Let's go. The Battle of Stalingrad stands as a monumental testament to the extremes of human conflict and the pivotal moments that can alter the course of history. Fought between August 23, 1942, and February 2, 1943, it was not only the bloodiest battle of World War II but also a clash of ideologies, strategies, and sheer human will. The outcome of Stalingrad signaled the beginning of the end for Adolf Hitler's Third Reich, marking a decisive shift in the momentum of the war. By the summer of 1942, Nazi Germany had already tasted both victory and frustration on the Eastern Front. Operation Barbarossa, the massive invasion of the Soviet Union launched in June 1941, had initially brought swift German advances, but the Wehrmacht's momentum stalled at the gates of Moscow in the brutal winter of 1941. As the new year dawned, Hitler's ambitions turned southeast, toward the oil-rich Caucasus and the city of Stalingrad, a vital industrial hub and a city bearing the name of his Soviet nemesis, Joseph Stalin. Stalingrad, situated on the banks of the Volga River, was more than just a strategic target. It was a symbol, a crucial transport hub, and a major producer of armaments and supplies for the Soviet war effort. Capturing Stalingrad would not only cut Soviet supply lines but also open the way to the Caucasus oil fields, potentially crippling the Red Army's ability to wage war. In July 1942, German Army Group South split into two. Army Group A moved toward the Caucasus, while Army Group B, including the formidable 6th Army under General Friedrich Paulus, advanced on Stalingrad. The initial German assault was devastating. Utilizing the blitzkrieg tactics that had overwhelmed much of Europe, the Germans bombarded Stalingrad with artillery and air raids, reducing much of the city to rubble. Despite inferior equipment and training, Soviet defenders mounted a tenacious resistance. The fighting quickly devolved into brutal, close-quarters combat amid the ruins, with both sides suffering staggering casualties. The Germans pressed relentlessly, but the Soviets clung to every street, every building, and every basement. The defense of Stalingrad became a symbol of Soviet resilience. Stalin himself issued the infamous Order No. 227, not one step back. The Red Army and the city's civilian population endured unimaginable hardship, starvation, disease, and constant bombardment. Yet, their determination never wavered. Military historian David Glantz notes that the Soviets' greatest stand occurred even before the Germans reached the city, in a series of fierce battles north of Stalingrad known as the Kotlebin operations. These costly but determined actions slowed the German advance and set the stage for the coming Soviet counteroffensive. By late September 1942, the battle had reached a stalemate. German troops controlled much of the city, but the Soviets refused to yield. Then, on November 19, 1942, the Red Army launched Operation Uranus, a massive, meticulously planned counteroffensive targeting the weaker Romanian and Hungarian forces guarding the German flanks. The Soviet pincers encircled Stalingrad, trapping over 250,000 Axis troops including the entire German 6th Army inside the city. Hitler ordered his forces to hold their ground at all costs, refusing to allow a breakout. Supplies dwindled, winter set in, and the encircled Germans faced starvation, disease, and relentless Soviet attacks. After months of desperate resistance, the German 6th Army, now reduced to a shadow of its former strength, surrendered on February 2, 1943. Over 91,000 German soldiers, including General Paulus, were taken prisoner, a devastating blow to Nazi prestige and morale. Hitler had promoted Paulus to field marshal, hoping he would choose death over surrender. Paulus's capitulation was a clear sign of the hopelessness inside the Stalingrad pocket. The human cost was staggering. Estimates of total casualties on both sides range as high as 2 million, making Stalingrad the bloodiest battle in history. The city itself was left in ruins, and the psychological impact of the defeat was profound. For the first time, the myth of German invincibility was shattered. The significance of Stalingrad cannot be overstated. Before the battle, Nazi Germany had been on the offensive, pushing deeper into Soviet territory with each campaign. After Stalingrad, the tide turned irrevocably. The Red Army seized the initiative, launching a series of offensives that would eventually drive the Germans all the way back to Berlin. The defeat at Stalingrad marked the end of German advances in the east and the beginning of a relentless Soviet push westward. It also had far-reaching effects on the morale and cohesion of the German military. News of the defeat and the atrocities committed by German troops led to a decline in morale, increased desertions, and a growing sense of inevitability about Germany's eventual defeat. Stalingrad's legacy is one of both horror and heroism. The battle stands as a stark reminder of the immense human cost of war, but also as a symbol of resilience and the capacity for sacrifice in the face of overwhelming adversity. The city's defenders, both military and civilian, became legends, their stories etched into the collective memory of Russia and the world. The strategies and tactics developed by the Red Army during the battle became instrumental in subsequent victories. The psychological blow to Hitler and the Nazi leadership was immense, undermining their confidence and authority. For the Soviet Union, the victory at Stalingrad was a unifying moment, galvanizing the population and military for the long, grueling road to Berlin. The Battle of Stalingrad inflicted staggering losses on both the Axis and Soviet sides, making it one of the deadliest battles in human history. Axis, the coalition of countries led primarily by Germany, Italy, and Japan. Losses, total casualties including killed, wounded, missing, and captured are estimated at around 800,000 to nearly 1 million soldiers from Germany and its allies, Romania, Hungary, Italy. Specifically, the German Sixth Army suffered about 285,000 casualties during the battle. Approximately 91,000 Axis troops, mainly Germans, were taken prisoner. Only 5,000 to 6,000 of these POWs survived to return home after the war, with most dying in Soviet captivity. Axis aircraft losses were around 1,000 planes. The combined German and Allied losses, including Manstein's relief forces and other units, exceeded 600,000 men overall. Soviet losses, Soviet military casualties are estimated at about 1,100,000 dead, wounded, missing, or captured. Of these, roughly 478,000 were killed or missing and over 650,000 wounded or sick. The Red Army lost around 2,700 combat aircraft and over 4,300 tanks during the campaign. Civilian deaths in and around Stalingrad are estimated at approximately 40,000. Many caused by intense aerial bombing and urban combat. Total casualties for the entire Stalingrad campaign likely approached or exceeded 2 million people, combining military and civilian losses on both sides. The Battle of Stalingrad was more than just a military confrontation. It was a clash of ideologies, a crucible of suffering, and a turning point that shaped the destiny of nations. The sacrifices made on the banks of the Volga changed the course of World War II, marking the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany and altering the geopolitical landscape of the 20th century. As we remember Stalingrad, we honor not only the fallen but also the enduring spirit of those who stood their ground against impossible odds. The city's ruins bore witness to the cost of tyranny and to the unbreakable will of a people determined to survive. What are your thoughts on this? I spend a lot of time researching these articles. If you like this information, please subscribe and help me grow my channel. You can find the details of channels in my bio and description. Faint Whispers on YouTube, Faint Whispers on TikTok, and Doodle Snips on YouTube for short animated videos.